DC Multiverse!
Supergirl. That's right. Today we're looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Supergirl action figure, based on her appearance from DC Rebirth. So what do we have here? We have the Maid of Might, the trading card, and the action figure flight base. And of course, she's standing on an Acme hole. Standard flight base. It's got a point right here, and it's got a point right here. Those are the points where it can move around and open and close. I find that these get incredibly loose, though, over time. I really wish that the design of these would change. Or at the very least, that they would become adjustable. You can't tighten them once they're loose. Here's the trading card. We have an image of Supergirl from issue number 1, while the back gives us a teensy-weensy data file bio. And, of course, the main part, we have the figure. Now, I'm in the middle with this figure. This is one that my knee-jerk reaction is to be really excited about Supergirl, because I'm really stoked to have more characters from the Super family. But upon closer inspection, anyone with even a passing knowledge of what Supergirl is supposed to look like will notice some glaring issues right away. And yes, I'm going to talk about the things that I don't like about this figure before I talk about the things I do like. So, for starters, that skirt is really, really weird. Like, it's huge. Like, why does she look like a dinner bell? Like, I do realize that this Supergirl figure's legs, well, they're Catwoman's legs. Not the feet, as you can see, but definitely the legs. You can see with Catwoman, you have this seam right near her where her boots go all the way up to her thigh. We can also see that, if you look very carefully, Supergirl's got that same seam right there. But Catwoman's hips aren't nearly as wide as Supergirl's. So what's going on there? And then the next question is, why are her legs all red? I mean, that's not right. I mean, at least from down to her knees should be flesh color, but this just goes all the way up. I realized that someone probably was like, if we use Catwoman's legs, that kind of looks like Supergirl's tall boots, but Supergirl's boots aren't really that tall. They don't end under her skirt. Like, this is not accurate at all. Also, the arms are recycled from Catwoman. Now, that doesn't really bother me that much, but you can really tell. You can see the seam there, that's Catwoman's arm. And the midriff area is also from Catwoman. You can see the zipper line. Catwoman's got it. Supergirl's got it. Also, when compared to, well, really either of the main body bucks used for Superman, she's definitely a little bit too tall. I'd say by at least one head size. Okay, so now I've mentioned the things that I really am not super keen on with this Supergirl. Now I'm going to talk about the things that I actually do like. For one, I actually really quite like how they've given her S the shiny gold in the middle, but solid S treatment. I do kind of wish it was a sculpted piece, but it's not done too bad. Even though her skirt looks, very, like a dinner bell. Dinner! I do actually like how they did the belt for Supergirl. Ah, that is huge! Look at that badunk. Supergirl ain't supposed to have a dump truck? That's a dump truck! I also like how they have attached the cape to the figure. They've actually stuffed it down inside the neck piece here, which, if you ask me, that's the right way to do it. It's kind of challenging to bunch it up, so it is just flat. But we are at the beginning, the origin story really of how to put a cape on, really what amounts to a budget action figure. This is, as far as price goes, the cheapest that they come, which is pretty amazing considering how big they are and the market, competition. They do have the cape sort of weirdly folded up here, which is, well, this whole thing is sort of strange, but you're not supposed to see that because the head is on the body and it hides that. And finally, the head sculpt actually doesn't look too bad. I know some people don't like it, some people really do. I think it's okay. I mean, I kind of do see you could do maybe Black Canary with this head sculpt, or maybe you could paint the hair black and, you could maybe do Wonder Woman, but this really isn't too bad of a head sculpt, so yeah, I gotta give points for this. This actually looks pretty good. Just for funsies, here she is with some other people from the House of El, some other Superman characters, and I mean, it's nice to have her. This is really great, and you know I'm going to customize her and make her all mine. Another thing to consider here is articulation. What is it like? Well, we know because Supergirl has a big clump of plastic hair that, well, goodbye flight pose. No flight pose for you, at least not in the, you know, classical sense. So that's a thing. Now, the arms, if you own Catwoman, you know what to expect. Rounded hinge there, you got the socket. We know exactly what it does because we've seen it before. And the torso, that's not too bad. Got the rounded joint, same thing with the waist. So no complaints from here really up except for her noodle noggin. When we get down to her, oh, this is going to be abysmal. You ready for this? I've already kind of mucked with it a bit. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. That's how, that's terrible. And there is, oh my god, almost nothing as an approximation of a thigh cut. You know, you can't really get this girl in any kind of dynamic poses. Like, what in the... This is a bad idea. This is a great selection, but just a poor execution of, you know, the dump truck skirt right here. I mean, there's no reason for this to be in the way. It just doesn't make any sense. And then we have the knees double jointed, which doesn't make a lick of difference because you can't move the legs up at all. It just doesn't, it boggles my mind. There are so many other ways that this could have been done, and the ankles, who cares? Who cares? This is the main problem. Now I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the problem here. You've got her typical McFarlane style groin, but look at this. Do you see this? What in the frig is going on there? Why is it there? Why is it happening? I have to solve this. As a customizer, I know I can fix this, and I can make this better, but gee golly willikers, what in the name of sweet Jesus is going on here? Just why? Okay, so I've been disassembling Supergirl to do some custom work, and this is the reason why the articulation is just so weird and wonky, and she has that big lump in the front there. I mean, why does this exist? Why did they think this was a good idea? I just don't really understand. Maybe this was their way of saying, we got to do something to assure there's a little bit of articulation. You know what I mean? Like something to mitigate the fact that the skirt was going to get in the way of the articulation. But out of all the solutions that could have been chosen, I mean, this wasn't it. I do have some upper legs prepared for her, so I'm going to use those. I believe that these upper legs are from Harley Quinn. That's right. They are from the Suicide Squad movie Red Dress Harley Quinn. You got to use some acetone on a Q-tip to get rid of the tattoos on her thigh there, but these, I'm hoping, knock on wood, I'm hoping that they'll work. And I may even, just for shiggles, try out this head sculpt. This hair is from a DC Direct Supergirl, and this face sculpt is actually from the Injustice one. I had to Dremel all that stuff out and mash it together, but I'm just gonna see if it looks good. I'm just gonna see if it works well. Anywho, so I suppose it's time to give my final thoughts on this figure. What do I think of this Supergirl figure? Is she fantastic, or is she a... Well, honestly, I could probably give her a 6.2 out of 10, which is not the number I wanted to give her. I wanted to be able to give Supergirl a much higher number. I love me some Kryptonians, but there are just things about this figure that were not well thought out and or poorly executed. I love the color palette. The facial sculpt is good. The S on the chest is nice. I just don't like the fact that the red goes all the way up the skirt. The skirt is so big and bulky it looks unruly, and you cannot actually use her leg articulation with any value because you can't move them past the skirt. But yeah, 6.2, 6.5 out of 10. Somewhere around there. Not a terrible figure, not great. Certainly glad to have her. I'm a customizer. I can do things with her. Other folks may not. So just be aware, this figure is going to be limited and inaccurate, but it will fill the Supergirl gap in your collection. Okay, anyway, that's all for me. Have yourself a super awesome DC day, everybody, and take care.